And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Type 1 in the chat if you can see and hear me clearly. Today, we are going to dive into the situation that's happening currently between the NBA and China. And today, I'm solely going to focus on the hypocrisy. I mean, it's blatant, it's in your face, and really highlight that by playing audio, video, talking about articles, and really highlighting, showcasing, and showing you that a lot of these organizations, athletes, politicians who claim to be progressive, who claim to be liberal, it's really just about the money at the end of the day. And they pick and choose what they truly want to discuss and what they want to push back against. So we're at the 47-second mark. We'll wait until about the 2.5-minute mark, and then we'll start the live stream. So as you come in, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Share this content on Twitter and other different platforms if you want to support the content, because this type of content is not going to be able to show ads, with the whole demonetizing and cutting down on impressions and really getting the message out. So if you want to support the content, my PayPal is in the description below, and my CashApp is in the description below. So let's see what's going on in the chat. How's it going, Damani Vaughn? Good to see you. What's up? Hello? Okay, so it looks like everyone can hear me and see me nice and clearly. That's good. There we go. It's good to see. That's good to see. Take a sip of water. Urban XTV, how's it going? Mute hypocrisy. I haven't really looked at the conference yet. I'm gonna do a video about that later. I'm assuming you're referring to the ADOS conference. How's it going, Deborah? All right, so we're coming up about 9 seconds away, and then we'll, excuse me, we'll get started on the stream. Okay, so for the past 3 years, we've constantly seen the NBA go out of its way. We've seen LeBron James, we've seen Steve Kerr, we've seen Gregg Popovich, we've seen the Warriors not even go to the White House. And we've constantly seen the NBA step in on political issues. Look at what happened in 2016 when they moved the NBA All-Star game out of Charlotte because of the whole transgendered bathroom situation. And then now we're watching the same organization who called Trump, LeBron James referred to Trump as a bum. We see people saying that Trump is the next Hitler, that the border situation is similar to concentration camps. Now here we have China, where they actually have concentration camps in their country for Muslims in that country. And I'm going to highlight this for you. And yet you see the NBA bowing down and picking and choosing what they really want to talk about and to defend. See, what's happening is China is the NBA's second largest market. That's a $3 to $4 billion opportunity for China. And China is flat out committing human rights violations in that country. Yet LeBron James, that's his second biggest market as well with his Nike shoes. Could be his largest market as China begins to ascend. Yet you don't hear him saying anything about what's going on here. Daryl Morey goes out and tweets that he's supporting the democracy, the democratic process that's trying to happen in Hong Kong. But as I said before, Chronicles of Judah has highlighted this so well about these wokety woke, pro-blackety black athletes who come out here and basically get their talking points from liberals. Now, I know what some of you are saying. Well, what does this have to do with black people? What does this have to do with ADOS? It has everything to do with you as a black person, because the NBA is a left-leaning organization. It's a progressive organization. And what you're seeing with people like James Harden and LeBron James and people like Kaepernick being quiet is that people are giving them their talking points. Someone is telling them what it's okay to talk about and what it's not okay to speak about. And see, we don't have the athletes like the Jim Browns and the Muhammad Alis who really spoke about real issues. Instead, we have them talking about people of color. And we have them talking about open borders. And we have them talking about immigration. Yet, it's the black dollar, right, that constantly supports the black viewers, that legitimize these organizations. But yet, we don't have these athletes speaking about real issues that are going to transform ADOS in this country. See, they skirt around that. And now they're being faced with the real issue, and they're quiet. So now let me flip this around. And this is what started this all off right here, right? Daryl Morey, who's the general manager of the Houston Rockets, he tweeted out this picture right here. Fight for freedom and stand with Hong Kong. That's what he tweeted out. And after this, China immediately got upset because, see, China is a communist country. They are a totalitarian country. They are a tyrannical country. You don't have freedom of speech in a place like China. You can't say how you really feel in China. And this is important because, again, the NBA is supposed to be the moral high ground. Well, after he tweeted this, China decided to cancel all NBA preseason games. So then what Daryl Morey had to do, he had to go and do damage control. So he tweeted this out. I did not intend my tweet to cause any offense to Rockets fans and friends of mine in China. I was merely voicing one thought based on one interpretation of one complicated event. I have had a lot of opportunities since that tweet to hear and consider other perspectives. Open this one up. This is part 2. I have always appreciated the significant support our Chinese fans and sponsors have provided, and I would hope that those who are upset will know that offending or misunderstanding them was not my intention. My tweets are my own and in no way represent the Rockets or the NBA. Now, see, again, I'm trying to get to that this is important because what this shows you is that this same NBA who removed the word owner, the actual owners of the team are no longer referred to as owners because they feel like it's racially insensitive, have no problem with China having concentration camps and holding Muslims in concentration camps. Now, before we get into the information, I want to show you so you can see that I'm not making this up. Let's pull it back right here. Give me 1 second. I had it. Here we go right here. Let's open this up. Let's put this on so you can... With China having concentration camps and holding Muslims in... Here we go right here. So this is video footage of the actual... I know I'm going to butcher this name, but I'm going to try to say... I think it's pronounced the Uyghur Muslims or the Uyghur Muslims blindfolded and shackled in concentration camps. This is drone footage. This is happening over in China right now as we speak. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. Here we have illegal immigrants coming into our country, violating our laws, and they're being detained. And yet we have people referring to people willingly breaking our laws, and we're calling that a concentration camp because they're being detained and released. These people are being held in concentration camps, re-education camps, where they are being tortured with electroshock therapy. I'm going to get into that video in a second. Yet the NBA has no problem going over there and doing business with them. Why? Because it's a $4 billion market. It's a $4 billion market. Now, we know as ADOS, I've did videos on this already and explained to you how illegal immigration hurts you. You as a foundational Black American, you as an African American, because you have low-skilled workers driving wages down and competing against you. Yet you don't see the NBA protesting that, speaking out against that. They don't have any problem with that. Now, we've heard for years now that conservatives have said time and time again, leave the politics out of sports. But then you have people like LeBron James who came on and said, I'm not going to shut up and dribble. I'm going to use my platform to raise awareness. Okay, well, here's some awareness. There's over 1 million Muslims held in concentration camps in China. Yet you don't hear LeBron James say anything about that. So it just goes to show you how hypocritical he is. But again, these athletes, they're NPCs, they're shills. They get told by liberals what they can and can't say. They get told by the corporate media what they can and can't say. See, it's okay to attack Trump, but don't you dare speak about reparations. It's okay to talk about open borders, but don't talk about how open borders is going to impact black people. Because that's not the politically correct thing for you to say. Now, I know what some of you are going to say. Well, how do you know this? How do you know that Disney, which owns ESPN, controls what can and can't be said? Well, let's pull this up right here. Because, see, I believe in coming with actual facts. Right? So let's drop this article in there so you can go back and you can fact check me. Let's put this in here. I want to put the actual information out here so you can go and read this on your own. It says ESPN bans staff from discussing Hong Kong angle of the NBA China controversy. Remember, Disney owns ESPN. So now Stephen A. Smith, he can't go on ESPN and talk about real issues. He gets told what he can talk about and what he can say. So therefore, he's not influencing the agenda. He doesn't set the agenda. The corporate media sets the agenda and tells him what he can talk about. It says ESPN has instructed its staff to avoid discussing Chinese politics related to its coverage of Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey's tweet in support of the pro-democracy Hong Kong protesters, according to Deadspin. Chuck Salutro, the senior news director at the sports network, sent an internal memo obtained by Deadspin prohibiting on-air discussion of the tweet and directing shows to focus on basketball instead. So when you see these athletes who come out, they have all of this bravado and all of this stuff to say about Trump, but they can't talk about this. Max Kellerman can come on there all day long and talk about Trump and talk about politics, but they can't come on here and talk about the real stuff that's happening. And here we go right here. This is new. The NBA has released a statement on Daryl Morey. It says, "We recognize that the views expressed by Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey have deeply offended many of our friends and fans in China, which is regrettable. While Daryl has made it clear that his tweet does not represent the Rockets or the NBA, the values of the league support individuals educating themselves and sharing their views on matters important to them. We have great respect for the history and culture of China and hope that sports and the NBA can be used as a unifying force to bridge cultural divides and bring people together." This is what happens when real issues come up. See, he's an easy target. I don't care about what you say when everyone agrees with you. I care about what you say when it's not popular. See, Muhammad Ali went against the grain. Muhammad Ali was willing to speak and lose money. Real athletes who will actually speak out. Now, here is Adam Silver, right? It says the NBA commissioner Adam Silver heads to China to salvage the relationship. So now he's willing to go over to China to go fix things. It says the NBA commissioner Adam Silver is going to Shanghai to try and repair the league's relationship with China. Silver says he's making the trip, but he won't bend when it comes to protecting freedom of expression. The NBA will not put itself in a position of regulating what players, employees, and team owners say or will not say on these issues, Silver said. We simply could not operate that way. Really? Now, let me show you this. This right here, these are fans who came to a Philadelphia 76ers game. And while one of the players were shooting free throws, guess what happened? They chanted out "Free Hong Kong." And guess what happened? They were escorted out the arena. So what I'm showing you is hypocrisy. I'm showing you people flat out lying in your face. I'm showing you how the corporate media picks and chooses what they will and won't talk about. And see, as foundational Black Americans, we have to speak about this, because this is why our issues always get pushed to the back burner, because we allow entertainers, we allow athletes, and we allow organizations to hijack real movements, like the whole Eric Gardner I Can't Breathe, like the whole kneeling with Colin Kaepernick. And then people like Jay-Z can skirt in through the back door through entertainment and then take over a movement and then silence the real voices and the real issues. Now I'm gonna play this for you so we can see what's going on here. Give me 1 second. Let me turn this up.
Six ball. Josh Richardson and Michael Scott both back in for the 76ers. Tony Young back in for the
These are fans being escorted out of the game because they treated out Free Hong Kong. And liberals have done this for years. They tell you what you can and can't talk about. They tell you who you can, remember, LeBron James was supporting Hillary Clinton. We know what Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton with the crime bill did to ADOS with mass incarceration. But why do these athletes do this? Because again, they can't speak freely. They can't talk openly. Now, Trump came out and said something really important. And I want to pull this up. Because, see, I believe in truth, no matter who says it.
Putting pressure on the NBA, sir?
Well, the NBA is a different thing. I mean, I watch...
Why is it not playing?
Are the Chinese wrong to be putting pressure on the NBA, sir?
Well, the NBA is a different thing. I mean, I watch this guy, Steve Kerr, and he was like a little boy. He was so scared to be even answering the question. He couldn't answer the question. He was shaking. I don't know. I don't know. He didn't know how to answer the question. And he'll talk about the United States very badly. I watched Popovich, sort of the same thing, but he didn't look quite as scared, actually. But they talk badly about the United States, but when it talks about China, they don't want to say anything bad. I thought it was pretty sad, actually. It'll be very interesting. Excuse me?
Are you okay then with the Chinese government pressuring the NBA over Hong Kong?
They have to work out their own situation. The NBA is...
Did you hear what he said about Steve Kerr? Did you hear about what he said about Steve Kerr? Did you hear what he said about Popovich? Because remember, when the Warriors won the championship, Steve Kerr, he has so much to say. And see, again, you may not like Trump. You may not support Trump. But at the end of the day, truth is truth. Now, what I want to show you, this is Steve Kerr. Listen to him. I want you to hear what Mr. Steve Kerr, who has so much to say. Listen to this. He's quiet now.
Actually, I don't. I mean, it's a really bizarre international story, and a lot of us don't know what to make of it. So it's something I'm reading about, and just like everybody is, but I'm not going to comment further.
So he's reading about it. Now, I want you to hear what he had to say about the whole NFL thing. Listen to this. Because, see, this is important. He doesn't have too much to say about what's going on, because let's not play dumb. You don't think that he knows about the concentration camps in China, about how people are being treated in China, about the human rights violations happening in China, about the organ harvesting happening in China? Look at this. It's better. Listen to this.
I think it's just typical of the NFL. They're just playing to their fan base, and they're just basically trying to use the anthem as fake patriotism, nationalism. scaring people. It's idiotic, but that's how the NFL has handled their business. And I'm proud to be in a league that understands patriotism in America is about free speech.
Did you just hear what he said? I want to highlight that point right there. Patriotism in America is about free speech. Patriotism in America is about free speech. But let's go back. If patriotism is about free speech, why is ESPN telling their anchors, the talk show hosts, that they can't speak about what's happening in China? Isn't that interesting? Why are fans being escorted out of games if it's about free speech? If it's about free speech, why can't Daryl Morey leave this tweet up? If it's about free speech, why is he now having to apologize to a foreign entity? See, being woke is a big business. It's about power, wealth, and influence. It's about controlling what you think and what you can say. And we're seeing censorship happening on the internet, where now if you tweet the wrong thing, you could be flagged and removed. If you say the wrong thing. This is Orwellian. This is why you have to read 1984 by George Orwell, because it's happening in your face. LeBron James, I'm more than an athlete. I'm not going to shut up and dribble. Well, what about the million Muslims in concentration camps? Trump's a Nazi. Trump's a racist. Trump's a white nationalist. All of these talking points are being thrown at Trump. But yet now we know for a fact that this country is committing human rights violation. Quiet. Quiet. Not a peep. But it gets better. Because now, let me just show you some more women. This is what's happening to women over there. Let me show you. Because I believe in coming with receipts.
But I'm
Let's make this bigger. Listen to, she doesn't speak English that well, so just listen.
always worry. All the time I don't feeling I'm safe here.
The second time I was detained, I was taken to a special room and placed in a high chair. Bands held my arms and the legs in place and tightened when they pressed a button. The guards put a helmet on my shaved head. Each time I was electrocuted, my whole body would shake violently and I could feel the pain in my veins. I thought I would rather die than go through this torture. I begged them to kill me. Before we ate breakfast, which was water with very little rice, we had to sing songs hailing the Communist Party. We had to repeat in Chinese, in code, "Long live Xi Jinping," and in code, "Lenience for those who repent and a punishment for those who resist." Anyone who could not memorize a book of slogans and rules within 14 days would be denied food or beaten.
Thank you for the donation, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Israel. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So I'm highlighting this to you because I'm showing you hypocrisy. These people are being tortured. They're being electrocuted. And it's 100 of you watching this. Please hit the like button. It helps the content rank in the search engines. Also, please subscribe to the channel and share this video and hit the notification bell. So when you hear people like Steve Kerr and you hear people like LeBron James and Colin Kaepernick, that doesn't mean that police brutality is not an issue. No one's dismissing that. No one's not saying that we need to figure out a solution for the border. What I'm saying to you is that why is it that these athletes are so adamant to go after Trump and conservatives, but they won't talk about real issues like reparations, like the racial wealth gap? How about closing that? They won't. See, they get their talking points from their liberal masters, from the corporate media. And it tells them what they can and cannot say, who they can and cannot talk about. Why do all of these athletes always support LGBTQ issues, but they're silent on reparations? I just wonder why. I wonder why. See, they know what they can and can't say. They're told what they can and can't say. Now let's get back to that Steve Kerr video, because I want to highlight to you the hypocrisy. Where is it at, Ray? I think I'm past it. I gotta go to my bookmarks. Here we go. What was the now this video? Here we go, right here. Make this bigger.
About peacefully protesting. And I think our leadership in the NBA understands that when the NFL players were kneeling, they were kneeling to protest police brutality, to protest racial inequality. They weren't disrespecting the flag or the military, but our president decided to make it about that. The NFL followed suit, pandered to their fan base, created this hysteria. This is kind of what's wrong with our country.
Wow, they pandered to their fan base. That's what's wrong with our country. Like the NBA just pandered to China. Adam Silver's hopping on a plane immediately and running over there to go and fix this. Right? Now, I want to hop to something real quick, because I just talked about the whole LGBTQ thing. And see, what a lot of people don't understand is I want to show you something. I want to read an article real quick. Let me drop this article in the chat for some of you so you can go and follow up on what I'm about to say. Because it's really interesting to me how all of these organizations, all of a sudden, it's all about LGBTQ rights and they should be able to use any restroom they want to. And the NBA has no problem in getting involved in politics. And I'm going to highlight to you and show that to you right now. Right now, let's get into this. The NBA's hypocrisy over China and Charlotte is astounding. Follow me here. This is important. There is a place called China where 1 million Uyghur people are being held in concentration camps and having their culture systematically destroyed. There is a place called the United States where some states and localities restrict access to bathrooms and locker rooms on the basis of biological sex. In China, the NBA is thrilled to bring their teams and market their product. In Charlotte, North Carolina, the NBA refused to bring their 2016 All-Star game to protest the state's bathroom law. Now, this is not attacking LGBTQ. This is highlighting a point. This is not about homophobia or transphobia. I'm highlighting a point for you. They have no problem going to China and do business, but they removed a whole All-Star game out of North Carolina for a bathroom. They have no problem people being put in concentration camps in China, but they won't play the game in North Carolina because of a bathroom. Because they want men to go to the men's room and women to go to the women's room. It says the league decided to punish Charlotte for passing a law it did not like, but which came to be through a democratic process. Not only is China not a democracy, but it is right now involved in a violent crackdown against the pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong. In a public relations disaster over the past few days, NBA stars have parroted Chinese propaganda, and a confused Commissioner Adam Silver can't seem to decide how much censorship he's comfortable with. That includes fans removed from an NBA preseason game Tuesday night for holding up signs supporting Hong Kong protesters. The bottom line here is money. The NBA has 2 to 3 billion global fans. The National Football League and Major League Baseball both have about 500 million respectively. The enormity of the Chinese market makes it far too attractive for the NBA to ignore. After all, what's a concentration camp or two if there's money to be made? They don't care. Put the Muslims in concentration camps, man. We got to make money. But Trump, oh, he's a racist. Oh, he's xenophobic. Oh, he's a bigot. We got to get him out of office. We got to impeach him. But China, oh, we can go over there and sell sneakers all day long. Forget the Muslims that's in the concentration camp. That's essentially what you're saying. Oh, but LGBTQ, you want to chop off your penis and go into the women's restroom? Oh, you want to keep your penis and identify as a woman and say you're a lesbian? Yeah, you can go in the restroom with the little girls. That doesn't make sense. But there is something else at work as well. The NBA has very consciously crafted an image as a woke corporation while showing support for protests against the U.S. government and even engaging in a protest such as their stunt in Charlotte. The NBA is trying to position itself as a moral entity, even as an arbiter of what is morally acceptable. to the extent that it believes it has some moral authority in these areas. That authority is made completely bankrupt by their cowardly kowtowing the communist government to China. This is a cultural relatism at an astounding level, supporting the Chinese government's anti-democratic actions while claiming moral authority on domestic affairs is so wildly out of whack that there must be a rationalization for it beyond greed. There has to be a reason why so many on the American left and in woke corporate culture feel comfortable dipping into bathroom battles but won't say a word against actual atrocities. Now let's get to what actually happened in North Carolina, because I believe in coming with information. Here we go. We put this in the chat so you can go and follow this. Paste. It says, ex-North Carolina governor blasts Adam Silver, NBA, as hypocrites in the approach to HB2 versus China. See, what I'm showing you is that this is how the media and these organizations work together to control narratives, to tell you, the American people, what you should be focused on and what you shouldn't. And this is exactly why we, as ADOS, as black people, can't get what we need. Because we have these athletes who claim to be woke, but they're really not woke. They're parroting liberal talking points from corporate establishment. And they're trying to hijack grassroots movements. And they use our athletes because athletes are popular in our culture. And the NBA is a predominantly black organization. And it predominantly leans to the left. And we're seeing that they don't control what they get to talk about. Someone's talking for them. It says former North Carolina Governor Pat McCrory calls the NBA hypocritical in how it's dealing with the demonstrations in Hong Kong versus how it treated Charlotte in the state in 2016 during the controversy over HB2. The NBA chose to move the 2017 All-Star Weekend out of Charlotte in response to a law the league and many others viewed as discriminatory to the LGBTQ community. After the state rescinded House Bill 2 in March 2017, the NBA rewarded the 2019 All-Star Weekend to Charlotte. The NBA is now dealing with retaliation from China over a Friday tweet by Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey, supporting pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong. The Rockets distanced the franchise from Morey's opinion, but that didn't stop Chinese officials from enacting sanctions such as discontinuing NBA merchandise sales and canceling game telecasts. The NBA has twice issued statements looking to strike a balance between apologizing for the perceived as an insult by Chinese officials and businesses while defending free expression. See, it's all about money with liberals. Why do you think the manufacturing jobs in our country are going away? Because these corporations, they don't care about the American people. They don't care about the American worker. It's all about money. They'll ship that job overseas and they don't care how we'll deindustrialize this country. They'll make products over there in China that they know are poisonous and bring them back over here and sell them to you with no problem. They'll have people over there working in factories in subhuman conditions just so they can sell that iPhone for cheaper, or they can sell those sneakers for cheaper. But then they'll come over here and they'll talk about civil rights to you. And they'll talk about LGBTQ rights for you. And they'll tell you how we need to be in an open society and we need to have open borders. Do you see China? Do you think China is playing the LGBTQ game? What do you think? What do you think happens to LGBTQ people in China? What do you think happens when a man who is born biologically a man tries to go walk into a female's restroom in China? What do you think happens to people who want to cross the border and enter into China illegally? See, ask yourself, you have to ask those questions. What you think happens when you violate those laws? But see, our ancestors bled for this country, fought for this country, died for this country. We're supposed to just follow what the liberals tell us to do. And if you support Trump, you're a coon. You're a buck dancing Uncle Tom. I'm not saying support Trump. I'm saying The left wing and right wing is just the left and right wing of the same bird. You have to understand who's going to serve you best. Voting is an exchange. I give you my vote. You give me something back. You don't set the agenda. I set the agenda. You don't tell me who to support. I tell you what to support. But see, it's the reverse now. We have corporate media in bed with corporations telling you what you should think and what you should not think and what you should support and who you shouldn't support. And our athletes, because most of these athletes are not educated politically, they lead the youth down these paths. Because I promise you, in China, you're not going in any bathroom. If you're a man, you're going to the men's room. And if you are a woman, you are going to the women's room. And if you think you're not, they got a place for you. That's the difference. Now let's get back to Steve Kerr a little bit more, because I want to highlight just the level of hypocrisy.
Time with the president, because it's instead of unifying and trying to calm the storm, he's creating it over and over again. We see it with his tweets every day. I think it's just typical of the NFL. They're just playing to their fan base, and they're just basically trying to use the anthem as fake patriotism, nationalism, scaring people. It's idiotic.
It doesn't seem to matter to our government. It doesn't matter that people are being shot. It's not enough, apparently, to move our leadership, our government, the people who are running this country, to actually do anything.
So that was, he used the word sons of to talk about NFL players who have made it clear they're protesting racial inequality and police brutality. Those are sons of really? You're the president of the United States.
Wow, look, Steve Kerr has so much to say. He has so much to say, right? Doesn't he have so much to say? It's just amazing that he has so much to say. But yet, he doesn't really have too much to say about this right here. He has so much to say. But look at this video footage. It's quiet. He's talking about gun issues. He's talking about the NFL kneeling, police brutality. But he has no problem going to play a basketball game over in China. Liberals care about climate change. Do you know who's one of the world's largest offenders of polluting the environment? India and China. Yet the NBA just went over there and played a basketball game in Mumbai, India, and they were about to go play over in China. But yet they care about the environment. Liberals care so much about the environment. Man, climate change is a pressing issue. So we have to deindustrialize our industry, close down our coal plants, get rid of all of our quote unquote dirty energy, fossil fuels. But China, they can pollute as much as they want. Look at this. Look at these Muslims. Look what they're doing. Blindfolded, being walked into a camp. Where's LeBron James at? He's more than an athlete. Where's Steve Kerr? You know who else? Gregg Popovich. Gregg Popovich seems to have a lot to say. Well, let's see what Gregg Popovich has to say.
Freedom of speech. I felt great again. So he's been a heck of a leader in that respect, and very courageous. When you compare it to what we've had to live through the last 3 years, there's a big difference, big gap there, leadership-wise and courage-wise.
So now he's referring to Trump. He's referring to Trump, right? He's talking about how the past 3 years about leadership. That's what he's talking about. And he's saying, Adam Silver, he's being courageous. Really? He's being courageous by silencing general managers, by having NBA players have to go out and protest. But they have no problem villainizing and disrespecting Trump. They have no problem calling Trump a bum. This just goes to show, like I said before, it's all about money. And this is why I don't get caught up into the day-to-day politics. I have my agenda. I told you before, this is where I stand. It's very, very simple. Very simple. No black agenda, no vote for me. You're not talking about reparations, no vote for me. Because see, they don't have no problem speaking about the LGBTQ. They don't have no problem speaking out for immigrants. They have AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They don't have no problem speaking about Puerto Rico. But yet, when we start talking about real issues for black people, everyone seems to get quiet. And this is what this is showing you. These athletes, these coaches, these organizations, they get told what they can say and what they can't say. And if they go against the grain, they lose their job. The media will silence them. They get called a fool. We've seen that. ESPN put out a memo and told them, don't you dare talk about what's happening between China and the NBA. Shut your mouth. But Trump, you could talk about him all day long. Who cares?
And it wasn't easy for him to say. He said that in an environment fraught with possible economic peril. But he sided with the principles that we all hold dearly, or most of us did, until the last 3 years. So I'm thrilled with what he said. And as I said, the courage and leadership displayed is off the charts by comparison. We've all talked about or heard about all the questions that all the talking heads have and everybody for the last 3 years.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's get back to what Trump said, because Trump summed it up beautifully, and I like the way he framed this, because it just again goes to show you the NBA is full of cowards.
Wrong to be putting pressure on the NBA, sir?
Well, the NBA is a different thing. I mean, I watch this guy, Steve Kerr, and he was like a little boy. He was so scared to be even answering the question. He couldn't answer the question. He was shaking. I don't know. He didn't know how to answer the question. And he'll talk about the United States very badly. I watched Popovich, sort of the same thing, but he didn't look quite as scared, actually. But they talk badly about the United States, but when it talks about China, they don't want to say anything bad. I thought it was pretty sad, actually.
So are you okay?
Again, guys, there's 90 of you watching. Please hit the like button. It helps the content rank in the search engines. Or you can hit the dislike, doesn't matter. But hit the like or dislike button, it helps the content rank. Also, all of my social media platforms are in the description below. Also, if you want to support the content, my Cash App and my PayPal is in the description below. And please subscribe and hit that notification bell. As Trump just so eloquently said. See how quiet they were? See how they don't have all that bravado now with China. And see, this goes back to even the Revolt conference. The conference. When they were talking about MAGA and Make America Great Again. Let me explain something to you. My ancestors fought and died for this country. I'll be damned if I'm just going to allow some liberal sitting behind a desk tell me that I don't have no right to defend my border, that I don't have no right to defend my country, that I should just open up what my ancestors fought and died for and bled for, and I'm supposed to just open it up because some organization told me that's the right thing to do, because they virtue signaled and told me, oh, well, we have to be more accommodating. Because China, let me explain something to you. China's not here to be your friend. China wants to be a superpower. They want to run the world. They're thinking about power, wealth, and influence. They're not thinking about being nice. They're not thinking about equality. They're thinking about by any means necessary. See, we're the only silly people that walk around all day long wanting to hold hands with everyone and love everyone and be nice to everyone and just open it up to everyone and then allow people to come into our communities and set up shop, because we have too many docile people leading us and telling us how we should think and what we should think and when we should speak and when we shouldn't speak. And when we're xenophobic, and when we're homophobic, and when we're transphobic. No other group of people think like that. No other group of people think like that. Every other group of people thinks about their country first. You see China? You see how they got on code? Soon as the United States says something they don't like, they're on code. No, you're out of here. Oh, but I hate America, man. I just want to go back to Africa. This we have people saying. Just give up everything that we done fought and bled and died for in this country. Just give it up. The little bit that we had, just open the borders up. Let all the illegals in. Because Trump's a racist. So I hate Trump. I hate Trump so much that I'm going to cut my nose to spite my face. Because I can't see the forest for the trees. Because I hate Trump so much. Because LeBron James told me Trump's a bum. I'm not going to sit down and go read and do the research and see how LeBron James is selling hundreds of millions of dollars to the tune of billions of dollars in China, but he cares so much about America and what's happening over here in America. No, he cares about money. These people all care about power, wealth, and influence. So what can you take away from this video? You should be doing the same goddamn thing. You want my vote? You want my support? You have to bow down to my agenda. That's what China is doing right now to the NBA. They're letting the NBA know, you want my support? You want to come into my country and you want to sell your products to my people? Then you will speak about my people appropriately. See, we're the only people who don't think like this. Because we want everybody, we want to be everyone's friend. They're not playing no games. They're not. You really think that these people's over here like, oh man, yeah, we just want to let everyone in. You come over to China if you want to. You come over there trying to use the women's restroom and you a man and see what happens to you. You come over there talking about your religious expression and your freedom and see what happens to you. But hey, listen, anyone can come into our community and open up a store, open up a bodega. You know, we want to be everyone's friend. It doesn't work that way. It's not how politics works. There's one more thing I wanted to get into before I finish this. One more thing I wanted to get into before I wrap this up. This is one more source, so you can see I'm not just picking the same sources over and over again. Let's put this in here. Let's see what time we're coming up on. 46 minutes. Put that in the chat. This is another article. This article says, if you paid attention to ESPN channels yesterday, you saw the network repeatedly attempt to grapple with the story of the Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey creating an international incident after tweeting and then deleting his support for the pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong. You heard talking head after talking head castigate Morey for sending the tweet. Speculation over whether he'll keep his job, speculation about the sincerity of his convictions, discussion about what this meant for the Rockets' bottom line, the observation that it's unreasonable to expect for-profit companies like the NBA to act morally, and the take the cowing to China is simply the cost of doing business in China. You see this? That's an important thing, right? Look how the tune changes now when we were talking about China versus when we're talking about, I don't know, what happened in Charlotte with the whole bathroom situation. So let's get back to Steve Kerr, and we can wrap it up over there. Let's get back to Steve Kerr. Let's finish playing the
United States, you're going to call them sons of... and you're going to call Kaepernick out for nonviolent protest, a staple of American democracy. Young generation, the March for Our Lives generation has really inspired me, and so I offer my support to them and to all young people and hope that we can create a change where we don't all have to walk around scared we're going to get shot. We would, in normal times, very easily be able to set aside political differences and go visit and have a great time, and that'd be awesome. But these are not ordinary times. Probably the most divisive times in my life. I guess since Vietnam, but I was just a kid. Actually, I don't. I mean, it's a really bizarre international story, and a lot of us don't know what to make of it. So it's something I'm reading about, and just like everybody.
So we see that the NBA picks and chooses its battles. And what can we take away from this stream? Because see, a lot of people constantly say, oh man, you straddle the fence. Are you a conservative? Are you a liberal? You sound like a Trump supporter. I've made it clear very time and time again, I'm an independent. I'm not left or right. I believe in, if you want my support, you have to be embracing things that I feel are going to actually benefit people. And when I see organizations like the NBA, when I see Adam Silver willing to get on the plane to go salvage the relationship, what I see is a person pandering to money. When I see a general manager tweet this out one day, and then the next day go back over here and I say I did not intend my tweets to cause any offense to the Rockets fans or friends of mine in China. Mr. LeBron James with the shop, Kevin Durant with the boardroom, they have no problem lashing out at Trump. But then I go over here and I don't see them saying anything about this, what's happening over here. What that tells me is that they can't set no agenda for me. They can't tell me how I should think. They can't tell me what I should be thinking about my border protection, my border security. They can't tell me about which candidate I should and should not be supporting. I set the agenda, you follow. And see, this is how we have to start thinking, because it's clear. Liberals give these athletes the talking points. And Chronicles of Judah, he highlights it so beautifully. And I'm not a Hebrew, but I like his message. You have all these pro-blackity black, wokety woke athletes running around here telling you what you should and should not be doing, who you should and should not be supporting. But when real issues come, they get quiet. They pick and choose where they want to go and what they want to do and who they want to support. The NFL, Steve Kerr has no problem talking about the NFL. He has no problem talking about white supremacy. But he won't say nothing about China. He'll go over there and play games all day long. This even ties into the trade war. This ties into the tariffs. All of this is relevant because you see what China's willing to do to protect their country, to stand up for their country. They pick and choose their fights. They pick and choose fights that they feel that they could win. And with that being said, guys, I'm finished my stream for today. I want to say thank you to everyone who has supported. Thank you to those of you who have donated to the stream. Please like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. It helps the content rank in the search engines. And I'll answer a few questions. Let's see what's going on here. We got about 8 minutes left, coming up on an hour. So let's see what's going on in the chat before we end the stream. And definitely hit the like button. Maddox, as far as celebrities in the LGBT, they have colloquially for their public affairs. Blackity black, wokety woke, 100%. You sound independent and fair, 100%. Why should they care what happens? I guess you meant to say over there you're off base. No, I'm not off base. They should care because it's being hypocritical. You can't come over here and you can't demonize your country but go to another country that's doing worse than what your country is doing. That just doesn't make any sense. It's backwards. It doesn't make any sense. It's hypocritical. Why should NBA players care what happens over in China? Because what it shows you, and I know that you're trolling, so don't worry, Sam S. Why should they care is this reason. It shows you that they're told what they can and can't talk about. It shows that they're controlled. It shows that they don't really represent what they care about. There's no ethics. There's no morality behind them. It's all about money. That's what it tells you. And any real issue that's going to affect their bottom line, they won't speak about it. And this is why, again, can you name for me one athlete right now in the NBA that has spoke out for reparations? Ask yourself that question. Follow the money. I don't care about what a man says when it's popular to say it. I care more about what a man says when it's not popular to say it. Name for me one NBA player right now that came out and has really got behind the reparations movement. You know why you haven't seen one NBA player do it? Because the liberals they told him that he can't talk about it. They haven't given him the okay to speak about it. But you'll see him support open borders. I care about China because I know that China's trying to overthrow the US. And I know if the United States doesn't have much plan for ADOS, I can promise you China doesn't have much plan for ADOS either. And I'm not going to cut my nose to spite my face. And I also know I can see fraud. I can see frauds a mile away. I can see them. That's why. Steve Kerr has so much to say about Trump. It's manufactured outrage. And this is why we can't progress, because we have people setting the agenda for us and we don't set the agenda. I don't know who red and blue pill meeting with Queen of Dem of Congo, big meeting apparently. I don't really watch them. So I have no idea what's going on with those people. I don't know who those guys are. I know that they have something to do with Sinetta, but I've never watched a red pill, blue pill video. So I have no idea what's going on with that. Let's see what else is going on in the chat. Preach my brother. Jacob Israel, notice their temperament. China confiscated any payment. What do you want to replace the US dollar as the world global currency? That will never happen. China has a lot of fraud going on in their economy. China's economy is a house of cards, and it's a lot of manipulation. You have to understand, China is a communist country, so they can manipulate a lot of data. The Chinese economy is not as strong as they want to portray it to be. There's a lot of manipulation that goes into China. And what's happening is, because our companies, the elites, the Fortune 500, the Apples, the Amazons, the Googles of the world, the MBAs, they're willing to sell out the American consumer, the American worker, to get over there into China to do business. Because as you can see with the NBA, it's all about money. The NBA realizes that I think I've heard reports that it's about like a $3 to $4 billion market for them potentially. Not right now, but it could potentially be. Sorry, colloquially, human advertisers creating familiar conversation around it. It says, sorry, colloquially, human advertisers creating familiar conversations around a controversial topic. I see where you're going with that, but again, it just goes to show you that the NBA is about money. And what a lot of people don't understand is that the LGBTQ community, they represent a lot of buying power and they represent a lot of money. And at the end of the day, if they tell you that we're going to give you $100 million, $200 million to push this agenda, as we can see, the NBA is going to push that agenda. That's what it's about. But real issues that really impact ADOS, who don't have $100 million to give you, who don't have $200 million to give you, you're not going to talk about that. Right? So it just goes to show you that the NBA is no different than any other organization. And what you should be taking from this situation is that they can't set no agenda for you. LeBron James cannot set the agenda for you. Steve Kerr can't set the agenda for you. Adam Silver can't set the agenda about what's right and what's wrong. As I said before, Chronicles of Judah, he highlights it so eloquently. We have too many pro-blackity, black, wokety, woke Negroes running around here trying to tell us what we should and should not believe. And it just doesn't work that way. Like Macro Grande said, the NBA is amazing how they show their true colors. They are the definition of sellouts. And that's what happens time and time again. DeVerchi son, they are from New York. Big back to Africa folks, obviously Sinetta. But they just met with the committee, including Queen Dambia of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Yup, just wondering how much international ties tie into ADOS mentality agenda. So the NBA hates the U.S. for supposedly being totalitarian, yet want to do business and say nothing about a real one. Exactly. That's the point. It's hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy at its finest. That's the whole purpose of this video. It's hypocrisy. And don't allow these people to set agendas for you and tell you what you can and can't speak about. Because this is the corporate media and corporations getting together to tell you what you can and can't speak about. And that's, at the end of the day, what's at the heart of this conversation. 100% Frank Littlejohn. Celebrities and entertainers should not be leading our politics. But the problem is, far too often, these people do lead our politics. And they do tell us what we can talk about and tell us what I talk about. I agree it's hard to type real conversation, but I agree it's about the money. 100% is about the money. It's all about the money. Jason Black says this time and time again. It's about power, wealth, and influence. I care more about what you say when you're in that room. Think about this. When decisions are being made, do you think that LeBron James is sitting in the room having that conversation about the real decisions that are being made? Or do you think that the executives come out the room and tell him what to do and tell him what they're going to do? Thank you, Marco Grande, for the support and hitting up the PayPal. You think Colin Kaepernick is really sitting in the room and orchestrating Nike on what to do? Or you think that he's supporting the things that Nike wants him to support? And I'm not knocking him. Get your money. I'm not hating on anyone. Make your money. I'm not saying that the NBA shouldn't be about its money. I'm a capitalist. I believe in making money. I believe in entrepreneurship. But we're talking about politics now. And what I'm trying to get you to understand is that what may be good for the NBA's bottom line isn't good for you, the American citizen. What may be good for LeBron James and his family's bottom line and him becoming a billionaire isn't what's good for you as an ADOS, as a foundational Black American, as an African American. What may be good for Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union is not what's good for you. And see, part of getting on code is you have to start understanding these people cannot set the agenda for you. The boule cannot represent you. You must make the boule do what you want, or they have to get out the way. They must be reformed or removed. That's the whole purpose of this conversation. It's showing you hypocrisy. It's showing that these people are not fit to lead. Because when money gets involved, and we know when you're talking about $17+ trillion of reparations, that's going to impact the wealthy. And we can see that the wealthy, they don't have your best interest. They don't have those Hong Kong protesters' best interest. They want to get into China and sell that merchandise and sell those sneakers and sell the basketballs and sell LeBron James and sell Kobe Bryant. Sell the Mamba sneakers, right? Kobe's big over there in China. LeBron's big over there in China. Dwayne Wade's big over there in China. That's what it's about. That's what you take away from this stream. Connecting the dots. Everything's not about racism, white supremacy, racism, white supremacy. Sometimes it's about understanding no one really has your best interest but you. And if a person is coming to you with ideas and agendas, you have to ask yourself, will they sell you down the river if the price is right? I would not. I don't see how you said, Jamel Jenkins. Eli, would you agree that Trump is the most pro-black president based on policy alone? I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far. I would say that his policies, we really haven't seen what his policies have really done as far as impact. Remember, it takes years for you really to feel the impact of what a president has and has not done. A lot of people like to tout the unemployment rate because the unemployment rate went down. But if you look at wage growth, wages haven't really went up. And then if you factor in inflation, wages went up about 2.9%, but inflation's increased about 3% over the year. So I don't really see, I don't see how Trump's hurt black people, and I don't see how he's helped black people. I just think things are just more of the same. And we're just getting a little bit of the trickle down, economics and politics and some benefits here or there. But the reality is, if you look at the labor participation rate, it's going down. If you look at wages, they're going down. If you look at manufacturing jobs, we're losing them. If you look at automation, more of it's coming. So, the Trump economy, I just feel is more of the same as the Obama economy. Like, the Fed's printed a bunch of money. They've cut taxes for the wealthy and the rich, and Americans are getting a few little crumbs here or there. But I don't see how like Trump's did something that like massively has benefited black people. I don't see how he did anything that hurt black people. I just think that things are just moving along. I think it's just more of the middle, right? I'm talking about something transformative. I'm not talking about unemployment going from 6% to 5%. Right? Like, okay, you got a job working at Aeropostale, or you got a job working at Starbucks. Like that. That's a silly talking point. Like, well, unemployment's, 3.5%, 4%. Okay, like, you got a job, but you're not, you have a college degree and you're working at Target. Like, that's not something to champion. So, I just think that we're in the end game right now. We don't have too much time to go. We just don't. Let's just be real about it. We don't have too much more time to go. We got to get serious. We have to get serious in a major way because many of us aren't going to make it through. And that's just the reality, so. Again, we're coming up on an hour now, so I'll leave it here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, if you want to support the channel, my Cash App, my PayPal is below. Please like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and all of my other social media platforms are in the description below. Have a great night, and thank you for tuning in.